Hello everybody, welcome to your first video of Tuesday. Now I thought what I'd do is I'd do a little bit of a counters or champions I use against Cavalier difficulty this month. Especially because I have been asked a few times. If you're interested in where I'm grinding and exploring, I'm doing a lot of this on live stream. And this will be down through the links in the description and as well a link to the most previous video on Twitch where I've been grinding out this event. Let's begin with Quest 1. Quest 1 is the starter point of when you come across these new nodes from the beginning. And against some of the lanes, and there were some really kind of like scuffy and weird lanes, there was a plethora of different champions to use. Especially against this lane here. This is where Void comes in, and if you're interested in the team that I use on the left-hand corner, where I've got Hulk Rags, BWDO, Warlock, and I've got Nick Fury in order to amplify the leadership signature ability and have that shrug off with BWDO, so that's why it's there, and Void. Void is really handy against creating distance, and if you aren't really inclined, especially with Electro, if you're hitting into Electro, you're going to melt your health. So maybe some other options there that aren't going to do that and also mitigate that damage that's obviously coming in. There's other options too. I'm not going to say that that's a definite option, but if you're looking for something to have and play into that node, but also create distance and put debuffs on the enemy, then Void's your man, especially if you're like myself. My Human Torch, which I wanted to bring in here, and that's a great option. I decided that it's better for some of the paths, the path that I had in Alliance Wars, for it to be in that. So that was unfortunately where I had to go, and my 4-star one isn't ranked up enough in order to use, but it's definitely something I'm going to think about when it comes to that lane. The nodes itself, which is Academic Constitution, plays into Contagion. And I think I'm saying all right. Contagious, whatever it is. So Contagion, where basically whenever the defender is struck or blocks an attack, there is a 20% chance to inflict the attacker with a poison debuff, which plays into some of these here, including, first of all, Academic Constitution. Reduces the potency of the defender's poison effect by 85%. Additionally, whenever a science attacker dodges an attack or performs well-timed block, all their poison debuffs and passives are removed. So I don't know if Mortal Abomination really plays into that one of usage, but you know, I'm sure there's going to be ones out there, Mortal, Hulk, you know, lots of examples there that could be well used against this. And for the boss, I ended up using Warlock. I like Warlock for this, mainly because of the biohazard. And there is Nano Plague though. Whenever a robotic attacker would gain a poison debuff, they instead gain Shock, which deals 85% of defender's attack as direct damage over 5 seconds. I don't know why, I just didn't find it actually kind of like clicking in and doing anything. Kind of weird, but you know, I'll take it. If I'm not taking any damage from it, I'm not taking any damage. And the fight was over before it even started, which is something I just went, okay, that works fine. But any champions that kind of interwork around Biohazard, where they're bleed immune or kind of interact like Black Widow, Clairvoyant, Ghost. I mean, Ghost is great in any case for kind of going up against class advantage and whatnot. So yeah, lots of different champion options to take in against this and get Quest 1 hammered out. Right, Quest number 2 time. This was a time where I rotated around certain champions I really like Hulkbuster. I love Hulkbuster. It is a great champion, and it was nice to have it rotating back into my roster, which, let's face it, on a monthly basis, I do try and rock that champion as well as a few others. But Quest 2, Engineered Fracture, which is whenever a tech attack inflicts the defender with an armor break debuff, the defender is also inflicted with a passive heal for 10 seconds. Infectious Wrath, which is tech attackers gain indefinite passive fury increasing attack rating by 35% whenever the defender tries to gain health while heal blocked. And then Nanite Healing, which benefits the opponent. I mean, for this, as I said, it plays into decent tech champions. We've got Warlock and Hulkbuster. I love them. There's so many out there. I wasn't a big fan of Dark Hawk. Used him a little bit. Wasn't really enjoying him, especially for like quick damage, quick ramp up. We got Hulkbuster when the enemy is blocked, hitting in a special attack and SP1, and you're able to just like, you know, rotate around with the heavy attacks, putting loads of shock damage on, and as well just like rotating around if you're lucky to another SP1 and keeping that process. And to be honest, Hulkbuster was amazing. Got the regen if you make any mistake, that you can just be like topped up with health if you go low. Man, loved it. But at the same time, I was utilizing the team that's on the left. So a little bit of Hyperion for the boss, but I was also changing up Hyperion for Captain Marvel movie, and especially when it comes to the end boss being Sentinel, it's the case if you don't kind of keep up your pressure, you end up getting like shocked. And it was great with Hyperion because you were able to go from like SP1 to SP2 to SP3 and rotate around quite nicely and still stay alive. Corvus Glaive just hits well nicely in any case and just kind of like does the business, especially because most lanes have enough of a build up that you can get the missions that you need, especially because you always have to do Wasp, so you can go into like a parry, heavy attack, or you can just hit through until you get the first like passive or the first stun evade type thing, and then it's a case of going like parry, heavy attack, and then it's like, okay, cool, I've got a mission, or I've got a second mission as a result of that, or I've got my third mission as a result of that. Gives you the ability to kind of build back up. And you can use any other champion for this. You could use Starlord, Ghost, Quake, and many others in order to kind of like take on the boss. But it's up to you whether or not you want to play into that shock damage that you'll get, or completely avoid it and just use champions that are going to be able to just smash through just quite instantly. The goats for this, or the MVPs for this, were Corvus, Hulkbuster, and Warlock in that order: path clearing and boss smacking. Right, now to quest number 3. Now I did change out a few selections of teams, especially as I was experimenting around when taking down the likes of Annihilus. Now Annihilus, I just don't like the fight pattern with it. So a lot of times dealing with the Unstoppable is kind of a crucial thing, whether or not that's from the means of staggering or the slow debuff. That is going to be up to a personal preference and choice as to what you use. And here's the thing with the lanes, something to note, this is all about cosmic improvements. So each time the cosmic attacker lands an attack, they have a 10% chance for each armor break on the defender to gain an indefinite passive Fury. Really handy for those champions that kind of like build it up and also get Fury as well. Like Hyperion off SP2 for armor break. Medusa, pretty much a constant, and I would have liked to use that champion if she was not subject to usage in Alliance War, but you have to deal what you need to deal with. Consistent armor breaks normally come from champions like Corvus Glaive, off doing just a well-timed block, parry, and then you hit into and just smash them for anything. But as well, you could really time into the way that Tough as Nails has worked. And maybe I was just getting a little bit bored, but you could, rather than just going like, okay, I'll just smash the enemy, you could wait for the build-up of armor, then go into the kind of the well-timed block in order to get those armor breaks off. Because like then it's a case of like it's a bit more useful to then your damage output and as well playing into that cracked in the armor. But apart from that, it's a pretty much fine thing. The team that I use is on the left-hand side. I've got to explain it a little bit. And as I said, I did switch out for Doom. I did switch out for some other champions as well, just to kind of break it up a little bit. Terrax can be a really cool option against this, although I'm not in a position to rank him up yet, as I've got others that are kind of like a top priority for rank up at the moment. But Hyperion, Apocalypse, Venom, and then Corvus and Proxima, kind of self-evident the reason for usage when it comes to the boss. Now, even though I would not advise this, because the end boss does stagger. That is the biggest thing. And yes, the champion throws special attacks, and as well you will get staggered, which isn't great. It isn't great at all. So if you're looking to, which I was doing, it was a case I was trying to get the true accuracy, synergy, transference. So every time that Mr. Fantastic would do a evade, I would do a parry heavy, I get the true strike. But that is completely ridiculous, or annoying, not ridiculous, but annoying, when the champion staggers you and you're not able to build back that true strike, and then you're there like, oh, great, right, then you've got to like figure out a way to kind of get that sorted again. But that's the thing, you've got to watch out for that stagger. But still, like, I was doing one-shots with Corvus against Mr. Fantastic. I think a lot of champions work for this, but as well there are other options. Like, you can use Apocalypse. Apocalypse could be a really cool option because you're able to deal with evade. And as well, I think you get disorientated from this. I want to say that's the correct. Yeah, disorientate debuff. Funnily enough, Apocalypse shrugs off disorientate debuff, which is really great and also good for some further nodes as well, and interactions from some quests we're going to talk about in a minute. But yeah, you could use various different champions that deal with evade type abilities. I don't know if Moleman would be a cool example of usage, but it says each time the defender successfully evades an attack, inflicts a disorientate debuff, reducing down that. So don't get hit in the block. Did that a couple times and definitely regretted it. So I tried to keep myself right on the back a little bit and just chill, and then kind of wait for my good opportunity to then go back in again. But yeah, I was going to try Archangel against this, and that could be a cool option, but I decided not to in this case. But there are so many different options. Quake, could you use anything that does like True Strike? Possibly. You just got to watch out for stagger or kind of like losing any of those buffs. But apart from that, this was pretty straightforward. Right, next up, Quest 4, and this is skill and evades. So first of all, for this, I actually made a mistake last night. I thought that bleeds were able to be used. I don't know why I thought that. I didn't read properly, but it doesn't matter. I actually cleared a lot with blade, funnily enough. Just a weird thing. I don't know why sometimes I do things, but if it's stupid and it works, it's not stupid. And here's the thing. Skillful distraction. So skill attackers prevent the defender's evade abilities while the defender is suffering from a disorientate, incinerate, or shock effect, which is good if you've got those champions. I did want to use a whole plethora of champions. I tried using Massacre, just didn't work well with the kind of quick ramp up and stuff. Some synergies help out a champion, but I'm not going to remove a champion from the slot that would be better in different areas. Mind's Eye, skill attackers gain indefinite passive fury, and that's great. The kind of the MVP for this is Black Widow Deadly Origin. So I know I did say when the champion's released, like, oh, I'm not a massive fan of her. Then I got her, then I started working with her, and then I kind of was like, yeah, okay, this works for me. And now it's a case on a monthly basis because of the way that Shock works. It's like, it is beautiful, and I absolutely love this champion. I've been working loads of content with her, and just an absolute blast that I'm having with this. You got SP1 Disorientate from Mr. Nick Fury, and there are a few other champion options that are skill that could be used, but I would say these are largely some of the best. Black Widow, no, I can't use Black Widow Clairvoyant, I don't know why. Gwenpool, yeah, Gwenpool with the Incinerates, that works. I'm just trying to think of any others. I think that's really it. I think Mole Man's got some shock damage to him. But yeah, apart from that, it's got true accuracy and as well got that SP1 shock, I want to say. So Mole Man could be a great option for that. But yeah, when it comes to like the boss side of things, then what am I using for the boss? Well, for this, I first of all started using, in Uncollected, I used Morningstar, and I would have liked to have rotated it around in this one, but it just didn't work out with timing, and I may go back to using that. However, though, Longshot seemed to be the greatest champion for this, so I used Longshot first of all with the SP1 and the way that the champion interworks with good karma, and as well smacking in the SP1, and as well miss and falter and how it works there. So I just SP1 rotations, that seemed to work out well. Other option that was really, well, I was trying to work in was Majik. Majik was kind of cool for a little while. But I was just finding a few dropped inputs here and there. But I wanted to build up to an SP3 and smash an amount of damage. However, though, SP1s equally do damage based on interaction with buffs. So that was kind of like, that's cool. All those fights are actually on the Twitch video, so the VOD. So go and check that out. I may post a big kind of like video at the weekend which showcases those fights on YouTube, but it just depends on timing. So yeah, that's who I used against the Super Skrull, especially with that faltering being kind of a nuisance. However, though, you just got to keep your distance and keep the champion to an SP1. It's kind of quite easy to avoid that big boulder, the same way that Psycho Man's SP1 is a little bit more clinical to avoid. As I said, all information of champions I used and boss counters and stuff I've put in the description down below. Morningstar, if you can pop off if you can go parry, heavy, build up that power gain, and then smash in an SP2. Once the champion has a lot of buffs on him, then I cannot wait to do that video. I might do that towards the end of next week or something, because there's a lot of content still to make. But yeah, pretty cool stuff. Most of the time with the grind, you're put on the front foot, especially with under pressure and disorientate. And yeah, you don't have to play into the narrative of going back and swiping back and then staying into a block, which then gives you disorientate. But look, for this, I thought that this was a good option to just get it to disorientate immune. So once you get disorientate immune, it then goes through the rest of the battles, and Apocalypse seems to be that kind of champion. And it's great, especially because it plays into the node. So you've got healing factor. Each hit in a special attack of attacking mutant champions has a 30% chance to grant them a passive regeneration healing base health. But also you've got mutant attackers gain an indefinite passive fury attack every time they gain a regeneration buff. So every time you do a special, you gain a fury passive. That always plays into the narrative, like as you go per fight, and as well the damage you're doing with Apocalypse, more debuffs on the enemy from doing things like parry heavy, doing SP1s, doing SP2s, maybe doing an SP3 depending on the length of the fight, to then get all those lovely debuffs up, which is, you know, to be honest, you smack the enemy, you've probably killed them off by the end of it. So I usually just do like a parry heavy, SP1, maybe an SP2 first, and it's a case like the champion's just dead and gone. More so as you get to further fights down for the Horseman synergy. And yeah, by the end of it, I used one champion against Mr. Sinister, and that was Archangel, based on the Horseman synergy that was there. But I could have used Colossus. I think I put Nick Fury and Black Widow Deadly Origin, which Black Widow Deadly Origin I only used once to kind of clear one, or maybe twice actually, to clear some champions, just path clearing options. That's pretty much it, based on the damage ramp up the champion does, just because. Power Shield, not really needed for using Archangel, but any champion like a Mega Red or champions that interwork around just kind of smashing big, you know, debuff damage, big damage in general, heal blocking. Would I use Warlock against this? I think he wasn't available, decided not to use him. I may have had him in my team actually, Warlock, funnily enough. But yeah, as I said, like that Horseman synergy is pretty darn powerful, especially if you're building up. And I could have used Apocalypse in this fight as well, if I wanted to just do some massive nutty amount of special damage. But yeah, there's so many options there. If you can build up to special attacks quickly with Hyperion, with power gain, with Sorcerer Supreme, anyone really, you can just out damage the node or out damage the champion and just evade the SP1s, I think, is the SP2. Even though I evaded it twice, I always find it a bit of a risk factor whether or not the game is going to allow me for some dropped inputs or a clean breeze of smashing it out. And now to the final quest, and there's one thing which, if you notice, Magneto will not actually work against Psycho Man. I will deep dive that in a second, but which team did I use, especially because this is very Mystic orientated. Now, Doctor Doom is on duty in Alliance Wars, and that's fine, but there has to be other Mystics I use for this, and I used the Mystic of Scarlet Witch, and as well I used Longshot for the grind. I will probably go back into this and use Majik, but also some other champions as well. I think as well with the node doesn't really it's not overly applicable to the utilization of Mystics themselves unless you're kind of looking to play about with a node, because that's the biggest thing that I'm not a massive fan of, is that the persistent pressure. Defenders under the effect of Unstoppable become stun immune. This includes Unstoppable effects triggered outside this node. Every 15 seconds, a defender gains an Unstoppable buff for 5 seconds. The duration of buff is reduced by 0.5 seconds for each prowess buff or passive the attacker has. So that's the thing. It's not specifically tying you to Mystics. There are some good things on offer for Mystics, especially with Arcane Zeal. But you can use a whole plethora of different options of champions that interact with the nodes. You could use BWDO, especially because he can deal with that Unstoppable. You can use the stagger debuff in order to suppress. You're going to use yourself Juggernaut. Maybe someone out there might use a Juggernaut for this. But yeah, it's just like staggering, and as well stopping nullifying those types of abilities coming in. Buff immunity with Black Widow Clairvoyant, which unfortunately was another champion that was on duty, but you know, there's so many options to take this down. And as well, looking into what you can take on with Psycho Man, and this is where Magneto actually becomes kind of worthless, and you kind of think, it's #metal. How the hell does this not interact correctly with this? Well, let's have a look at the buffs. Heal or hide every 12 seconds. The defender gains regeneration buff, restoring the max power. If the attacker is far away from the defender while this triggers, the attacker gains regeneration instead, so keep your distance. Crippling failure. Whenever an attacker ability fails to trigger due to chance, they are inflicted with a heal block and power lock debuffs for 2 seconds. Explosive personality, that's fine. And then the thing that's annoying is while the defender has an armor up buff, they activate, they gain plus 65% attack rate. So champions that armor break are going to be offhand for this particular quest. However, though, it's just part of the champion's abilities, which CapIW seems to have with this 75% reduction in ability accuracy. If you're not familiar, concussion reduces down ability accuracy, and this is more potent against mutants, so 75% chance. So there's a chance it won't trigger, there's a chance it will, but let's just say it won't. So Magneto, even though I thought I'd try it out, it just doesn't work against CapIW because of concussion, because of the champion's abilities. Because I did see a few people questioning that here or there on the forums, and as well when I went in to just experiment, I was like, oh right, yeah. That's why that does not work. So yes, robotic, yes, hashtag metal, but oh no, concussion. In any case, there we go. That has been the video deep diving some of the champion options that I used, ones that I found effective. If you do want to catch up with some of the streams where I've been grinding through this, then the links are in the description. But as well, in the description are the champions that I use, and also some further examples and options of champions that are effective against some of the bosses. And as well, those that are good for path clearing. I will be doing some further videos which deep dive on a monthly basis some path interactions, because I could say like, oh yeah, BWDO, I could say Red Guardian, Void here, and something else. But then I want to try and produce about 10 different options per path interaction, which is going to take a little bit more time to do. But look out for that a little bit later on. And also I'll do an opinion video on this and a Cavalier objective video, which I'll drop, I hope, towards the end of this week. Once on stream, I've done all this content. Well, thank you so much for watching. Please check out some links and also some videos recently posted up there. And I'll see you all very soon. There's a second video dropping today about the romance arena. See you there. Bye-bye.